Check, check, 1, 2. Looking like a little country, some rock and roll and blues. 'Cause we sure love playing for good people like you. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2.
Welcome to Music Local and Sustainable, the radio show that features discussions with and the music of local musicians. I am your host, Dave Lake. Tonight, we have in the studio Laiken WIlliams. Laiken is seen around town in her duo, Laiken Love, with jazz pianist and keyboardist Eric Jones, and in several other bands, and she is even a choral singer for the Savannah Philharmonic. She sings blues, R&B, pop, a little classical, and some sacred music. Welcome, Laiken WIlliams.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about how you got to where you are now in terms of your musical journey.
Well, I'm from a small town in Georgia called Nichols, Georgia. Population probably like 1,200, one red light. And that part of Georgia, everything's very heavily based around church. I grew up singing in a choir. Even though most people didn't know much about me, I was just a very quiet and shy person, very studious. From there, I was interested in music, so I did middle school choir. And then high school, I joined high school choir. I wanted to do band, but it's either one track or the other. From there, I went to do show choir, and I slowly got out of my shell. And when I came to Savannah in 2004 to attend Armstrong, I joined the chorale. I sung with them about 3 years. After leaving Armstrong, I took a break, and from there, I joined the Philharmonic. And I was very hardcore on the karaoke scene at McDonough's. My friends and I, we'd always sing karaoke, and then from there, they're like, hey, maybe you should try singing, go to an open mic. I was like, well, I'm not a singer. This is just something I enjoy doing. So from there, I went to open mic at Wild Wings, and I was picked up by Voodoo Soup, and it's like wildfire. I just spread from there. Then I thought about starting my own band and didn't know what I was doing, and we formed Fellowship of Love. So here we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You actually came through karaoke.
Yes.
And then tried open mics because your friends thought that you sang very well. Right.
I wasn't confident in myself being a singer. I was like, wow, this is just something I enjoy doing. I can keep a tune. I love the choir scene. I just never saw myself being a soloist. My nerves were so bad when I first started out, and I think the point where I realized I was like, okay, maybe I'm going somewhere with this was, I think it was 2012, and Eddie Wilson asked me to sing in Picnic in the Park. And once you've sung in front of 15,000 people, that inkling of shyness sort of just fades away.
So initially you were shy with a few people, but 15,000 seemed to turn the corner.
Oh, yes. But sometimes in an intimate setting, it was just people they're like, hey, sing a song. I'm like, oh, wait, still a little too close, too intimate. So sometimes I can get nervous whenever there's something big coming up or any big show. So when you want to do your best, you just don't let it get the best of you. I'm so thankful for the opportunity I've had here in Savannah, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
Most of what you do around town is Laiken Love.
Yes.
And that is a combination of little blues, little R&B, pop,
jazz, classic soul, a little rock when I can squeeze it in somewhere. And I try to do a variety of everything. Try to touch a little corner of different genres.
And what about that type of music inspires you?
Well, a lot of older songs there's so much meaning in the lyrics. So you try to bring it across because you never know who you may reach. And a lot of songs today, they're just more about the beat. So there may be 3 lines and then you're just repeating it over and over. But a lot of the older songs, there's so much meaning to it. And through vocals or through instrumentation, you can reach someone. And I've had plenty of people like, wow, this is one of my songs that helped me through this, or this reminds me of when I was younger, or they grow a fond appreciation of you, and from there your following starts growing. And I just love it. It's just, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just The older songs are like my favorites. They're my go-tos.
What are some of your favorite songs?
My favorite and everyone else's favorite is When I Sing at Last by Etta James. And I love Janis Joplin. I love Amy Winehouse, Adele, Joyce Kennedy, Bonnie Raitt. Something to Talk About, and just love songs. The love songs tend to bring a group together. So there's so many songs I love. It's just hard to just pinpoint one, but I think At Last would be my favorite.
And how did you come up with the Laiken Love moniker?
Well, in college, one of my friends was like, he'd always say somebody's name and have love at the end of it. And so he'd always call me Laiken Love. And then somehow it just stuck. Like I was the only person that stuck with. That name came way before I started singing. So most people thought my name was Laiken Love for the longest. It just stuck. It just followed me. And then when I started singing, I felt to come out of my shell, I needed a name to help bring me forward in the singing realm here. And it was Laiken Love.
Let's go back a little bit and talk about your discovery at the open mic.
I would go up there and watch them. And I was like, oh, this band's good. I was never much into the live music scene because from where I come from, there's not much of a music scene there. So I would enjoy just going out on Wednesdays. It's just hangout time with friends. And I'd see other people go up there. And one of my good friends, he was like, well, you need to go up there. And I was like, no, that's not for me. That's not for me. So one time we went up there like real late and we missed everything, but we did get to talk to Big E and everyone. And he's like, oh, well, come back next week. And I was like, okay. So I came up there and I had my phone on me and I was like, he was like, well, what song you want to sing? And I said, all I know is At Last. So I got up there and sang and Big E was like, wow, where did you come from? And I was like, well, I've been living here since 2004, and this was probably around 2009, 2010. And I was like, I just do karaoke. I love to sing, but being forefront is not for me. So he's like, well, come back another time. And then I'd miss a few weeks. And I was like, no, I'm not going. I don't want that spotlight on me. My nerves are real bad. My friend Brett, he's a Mason. So on Wednesday nights, he would go to his lodge meeting, and he's like, well, you better be there by the time we get out of the lodge. I'm bringing all the brothers. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll be there. So I had to make sure I showed up. And then they'd come in full force, and they would just support me every week. Well, I eventually ended up getting picked up by Voodoo Soup and singing with them on gigs. And that first initial start out, I was like, well, this is fun. I enjoy this. You meet different people. They enjoy you being you. And I was like, I think this is what I've been missing in my life. At first, it was just something fun to do. I was like, I didn't see this going anywhere. And then Biggie was like, hey, well, we play a social club every Sunday. Why don't you come out and hang with us then? And then from there, I started going out there. So then people started seeing me. And then from there on, started paying me. And I'd go to play at the Wild Wings in Bluffton, play at the Wild Wings in Hilton Head. And then I think my first private gig with him, that day we were in Hilton Head. And we played at the South Carolina Economic Development Conference. It was the most amazing event I've done. I want to say that was the first event I met Jody Espina. He was playing with us. And from there, you meet other people and you network. By singing open mic gave me an appreciation for live music. So from there, I'd go see different bands. So-and-so's playing here, so-and-so's playing there. So I'd start going. And then once my work started piling up, I sort of had to dial back from going to see everyone. And then I ended up being the one that people want to come see. So this, I'd say in the past 2 years, it's been a big adjustment because people are like, hey, where are you playing next? And where are you going to be next time? Or, oh, man, you've come such a long way from playing in a little tiny bar to playing in more classier places, a more private event. It's been a fun ride. I sing with corporate band, Emerald Empire Band. There's over 100 of us functioning as the same band. We're just in different parts of cities, different parts of states. And that's pretty much taken a big chunk out of my year as well, from traveling to play different conferences and weddings and such.
Tell me more about this corporate band.
Rich Sheraton once lived here, and he's an amazing trombonist and keyboard player, but he moved to Jacksonville. Through his networking, he met the guys of Emerald Empire and moved to Atlanta to become a consultant for them. They have different territories, like Savannah's one, and then from Savannah we work the Charleston area, Jacksonville, St. Augustine area, or different various parts of South Georgia. We do a showcase here and there. We'll have different musicians from Charleston, Jacksonville come up and do an hour show with potential clients who may have put a deposit down for a wedding and want to see who they want for their band. So you'll have me along with 3 other singers, and we'll sing 3 songs each. And then you just go on about your way, do your own thing, and then you'll receive an email. It's like, hey, you've been invited for a gig. Here's a contract, pays X amount of money on this date. Would you accept it? And you see your little work chart and what musicians you're working with. It's a great networking tool as well, because you meet so many musicians from different areas, and you never know when they may call you for their own band. And it's an easy gig because I don't have to negotiate contracts. Somebody's already there to do it. So you just accept it, and then from there you grow as well. I've met a good bit of musicians and made a good bit of collaboration, so it's a great company to be a part of.
And what's sort of the range of areas that you go to for this organization?
I'm trying to think as far as I've been. I've been as far as St. Augustine, all the way up to different islands above Charleston, Daniel Island and Pawleys Island, Deborah Colony. I even had one in my hometown. It was just so funny to go there, and they're like, wow, you're a wedding singer? That is amazing. And everyone I graduated with was at this particular wedding. And that was one of the weddings. There was a storm flew through. We're under this tin shed. It's lightning. So you had to unplug all our equipment, keep everybody happy, like, oh, it's just going to pass. You know, it's those 15-minute rains. And then after that, it was muggy. It was super muggy. Plugged everything up. Everybody had a blast. It was one of the best weddings I've ever done.
You also work with New Arts Ensemble here in town?
Yes, I do. Kristen does the majority of our bookings for us. If anyone is like, hey, I'm coming in town, we're having a conference, we're interested in having your band, let's talk. And I was like, well, I have a booking agent to do that. So I passed off to Kristen. Kristen's an amazing negotiator, and she makes sure that we're taken care of. And I've learned that having a booking agent is very important, because I'm focusing on the client's needs. I don't have the time to negotiate prices or go back and forth with the runaround, and it frees up my time to work on other plans that I already have arranged. It's just amazing working with her. And I think my first gig with them, Ricardo was on the gig, and Ricardo's also part of New Arts, and they're just 2 amazing people that I love dearly, and I'm thankful that they've given me the opportunity to work with them.
And that also is weddings and things like that?
Yes, I've done a good bit of weddings with them. We do the Landings employee Christmas party. I've also done SCAD job fair. They have a big reception at Potter Hall. We play that. We just got booked for that again for next year. So there's some things that generate into a yearly thing, and we just come back and she works that all out for us.
With both booking agents, what kind of ensembles are put together?
Well, it depends. Depends on the client, what they're looking for. Some gigs may want just keys and vocalists. I've done one with keys, vocalists, and bass. Actually, this past Wednesday, we had one in the Landings for a 7 chefs dinner. It was keys, vocalists, bass, and saxophone. And everyone wanted high energy party music, and we had no drums. So thankfully I brought my tambourine with me, and we actually turned it into a pretty big party. Sometimes it's just a 4-piece, sometimes we can stretch to a 10-piece, just depends on what their budget is willing to fit in. That's just depends on the client.
Do you book your local bar gigs, or are those booked through one of the agencies?
I book those myself. Usually they give you a trial run. They'll book you here and there, see how they like you. see what turnout you bring. And usually they'll say, hey, are you interested in playing next year on these set days? Rocks on the Roof, we play there every first and second Friday, and then I split that time between there and I'll go to the Mansion third, fourth, and fifth Fridays. And at the end of the year, they're like, hey, are you interested in coming back? I was like, yeah, sure, I'll renew. Sometimes I'll ask for more money just because we've developed such a draw to those places. I'm like, well, I feel that maybe you can bump us up just a little and pay I think it would be only fair, like you're making an excess amount of more money with us coming to your bar. Sometimes you have to fight with it. Sometimes you're like, well, I think I'm just going to go somewhere else and play. I have an opportunity somewhere else. But as a band leader, I want to make sure my guys are taken care of. Usually I put their needs before mine. And for me to be able to retain players, I just feel like we should earn a little more so I am able to keep them.
Tonight, we have in the studio Laiken WIlliams. What's your band like when you are at either Casimir's Lounge at the Mansion or Rocks on the Roof?
Usually it's just a 4-piece. We have keys, drums, bass, and myself. At Kashmir, sometimes Jody's in town or he knows we're playing, he'll pop up, or Kirkley will pop up. It's a real treat when they pop up. I appreciate all of them, and say if my bass player can't make it, then I may hire a sax player, or we'll just tough it out, the three of us. But it's just 4 of us.
And who generally do you work with at those gigs?
Those gigs, as far as keys, I have Eric Jones, and then my other player, Willie Jones, Anthony Gadsden. Anthony started playing with us this year. He is military, and so I lost him for a few months over the summer. He had to do a deployment. As far as bass, I have Darius Shepard, and Biggie, sometimes when he's available, he'll play with us, and Ryan Kelly. Drums, I have Robert Saunders and Jermaine Baker, and I've used Rufus Bryant. So I have a pretty big rotation of guys. I just send out, it's like, hey, I'm booking for January and February, send me your dates, and from there I pluck everyone together. So.
And so you assemble a band.
I assemble a band, yes.
Basically from who's available.
Right.
For those particular dates.
Yes, and those who see us a good bit, they're like, hey, your sound's completely different this week than it was last week. I was like, yeah, we'll have different guys. Each one brings a different vibe. Willie does his jam band thing, which is like high energy, and Eric can get to that point of the jam band, and then sometimes we like to do I do more mellow stuff with Eric, just we can finagle that. It's just depending on the type of atmosphere that we're in, and sometimes I pick my players from that, and like, oh, well, we're gonna play at jazz, so I want to go this route, or we're playing at Rocks. Rocks is very high energy, so I want to play that route. The Mansion, we try to go mellow, but usually we end up partying. There's people who are either at the hotel or don't want to venture downtown Bay Street area. They'll come up there and party. Just like the time during the jazz festival, Matthew McConaughey popped up into the Mansion. We were doing Proud Mary, and he just floated up to the stage. And that was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Because I didn't even notice. I heard, hey, is that Matthew? I was like, who is Matthew? What are you talking about? And then I looked up, and I was like, hey, it's Matthew McConaughey. And you just never know who may show up to your gigs. And it's just an honor to have even played in front of him. He chatted with us a bit, and he just was amazed how we were. And he's like, oh, do we have your card? I was like, we may never hear from them, but just someone of that stature asking about you or asking for your information is very rewarding.
In addition to the weddings and corporate events, and in addition to your normal gigs around town, you do some special concerts. You did Ladies in the Blues.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Out at the Tybee Post. Mm-hmm. How did you get connected with that?
Well, Ricardo is the coordinator of Tybee Post, and Huxley and Danielle Hicks did the first Ladies of Blues. And he contacted me shortly after, and it's like, hey, well, we want to do the next round. And I was supposed to be there on that one with Louise Spencer from Hilton Head, but there was a schedule conflict, so he put Frazier on there with me. And It was an amazing show. I wish more people would have came. But Tybee, sometimes people are like, well, Tybee driving all the way out there, I don't want to. But it's one of those shows where if there were 5 people there, if there were 5,000 people there, I would have put on the same show. It would have been worth every dime that you spent to come see us. And working with Claire Frazier, she is definitely a gem in this city. I've learned so much from her, just from her career with singing backups for Smokey Robinson to her touring. And she's like, you take care of yourself, you give it all you have, and then you'll see yourself prosper from there. And Women of Blues, it was an amazing show because it gave me a chance to dig deep and I'm like, okay, who do you think of when you think of blues, like Women of Blues? And she went more of a classic range, like Bessie Smith and Louis Armstrong and all of that. And I was like, well, she has this area covered. I was like, let me see what other areas of blues that I can cover. And that's why I went with Miss Celie's Blues from The Color Purple. It's just a tune that a lot of people are familiar with. And then you have Janis Joplin. Like, I'm a huge fan of Janis Joplin.
Like
And then I was like, well, let's go. You have country blues. You have, like, the modern blues today, Alabama Shakes. Like, everyone's obsessed with Alabama Shakes.
Bless my heart. Yeah. Bless my soul. Don't think I'll make 22 years old. Yeah, you are. There must be someone saying no. Said, come on, Brit. You got to come on up. You got to hold. You got to hold. Yeah. So bless my heart and bless yours too. I don't know what I'm gonna do, don't know what I'm gonna do. There must be somebody up above saying, say, come on, Brit. You gotta come on now. You gotta hold. So bless my heart and bless yours too. I don't know where I wanna go, don't know what I wanna do. There must be somebody up above saying, come on, baby, you know you gotta go, you gotta go.
And I just felt that we just covered a wide variety of blues that most people who came up to me at the show were like, oh, you know, I didn't really think of that as blues, but now that you mentioned it, that is blues. And it was an amazing show.
You're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. If your business enjoys the programming on WRUU-LP, please support the station with a donation. Let your customers, neighbors, and friends know that you share our vision of building a thriving economy based on a diverse and vibrant community. Our listeners will know you support Savannah's only broad-based community radio station. Become a tower sponsor or underwriter. To check out the levels of corporate sponsorship and to donate, go to www.wruu.org/corporate. Again, to check out the levels of corporate sponsorship and to donate, go to www.wruu.org/corporate. Thank you for listening to and supporting WRUU-LP. You're listening to Music Local and Sustainable, and I'm your host, Dave Lake. Tonight, we have in the studio Laiken WIlliams. Now, was there a song that you were particularly eager to do?
Yes. I, being a small town person, country was a major factor growing up. And Alana Miles' Black Velvet is one of my favorite songs from that era of like the early 90s. And I was so looking forward to singing that because I just want people to realize, or well, not realize, but understand that I can sing anything. I can sing just about, if I put my mind to it, I can sing just about any genre. And just coming from someone who just does straight R&B, or they just pin me as an R&B jazz artist, I want to be able to not be in the box. I want to be able to sing any particular style of music if asked.
Jimmy Rogers on a
So that was my Q1, and most people forget about that song. And I remember Jamie Smith was like, "Oh wow, I forgot about that song. That was so, you did so good." I was like, "Thank you."
And so that was out of the country vein.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And again, country is not necessarily something people think when they think Laiken WIlliams.
Right.
Laiken WIlliams, that famous country singer.
Well, the other night when we were at the landing, somebody asked me to sing Boot Scootin' Boogie. I was like, wow, I have not heard that song in a long time. Boot Scootin' Boogie. I sang La Bamba. And I was like, Eric, do you think we could pull off La Bamba? Somebody's like, can you do La Bamba? I was like, well, okay. YMCA. Or most people always ask me to sing Midnight Train to Georgia. And then sometimes they were like, I try to pin your voice, but I can't really pin you to one person specifically. And I was like, well, that's pretty much the point I'm trying to get to.
How do you deal with the somewhat off-the-wall suggestions for doing songs at some of these events?
If I'm asked there, like just somebody just thinks of a song, comes up to stage, hey, do you know this song? Most of the time, I may know it, but the band doesn't know it. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, my guys don't know this song. Do you have something else you can suggest? Or, hey, what if I do this in replace of that song? I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that song. Oh, that'd be great if you do that. And I've learned that from doing piano bars. I worked at a piano bar in Hilton Head called the Electric Piano. And when they called me to do that, I was like, oh, I've never worked in a piano bar. I don't know like how this is going to work. And it's like, oh, it's Motown. It's easy. I was like, okay. And then they were amazing owners. Adam and Kelly, they were like, hey, we want this much volume in the crowd. You have to be very interactive. And I was like, well, I'm not that good at being interactive. I'm like a singer. I just sing what I know. And they're like, oh, we have a lot of tourists come in. So, hey, where you from? Or what do you like? What songs do you like? Do you have a request? And then when you take your break, you go out and speak with them. And just from working that short period of time in that piano bar, it's taken me to a new level. Like, I've learned to interact with people more. Usually I'm just not the singer. I'm just, oh, she comes and speaks with us, and she's very interested in what we have to say and about our lives. And now there's not that face that disappears behind a curtain once I'm on break. Now,
back to the Ladies of the Blues.
Mm-hmm.
Does some of the songs that came up there, have they worked their way onto your other set lists?
Yes. Miss Ceely's Blues we did for the Speakeasy for Savannah Food and Wine Festival. A good bit of those songs I reworked back into that list for the Speakeasy. Or songs similar to those I've worked into the band stuff. Whenever I have free time, I've been working on new set lists for us to do. Because I don't want to keep the same set list, because I just want to do more of an outreach. Since I do most of the advertising and everything for us, I just don't want to be like, oh, well, they're going to do this same song again, they're going to do this same song, which we are at the moment, just because I don't have time to get new songs out, new material for the guys, and trying to songwrite, and Eric's my backbone in that process. I don't have any instrumental talent, so I only hear what's in my head, and he's like, well, just sing it out and just send it to me, and then from there we'll work something out. I was like, yes, we can put that composition degree to good work.
How often do you include originals then in your sets?
I've not included any originals yet. I do have a current song out now with the Garage Studio, and that came out a few months ago. And Matt Collette with that studio, they had already put the music down for the song, but there weren't any words. And he's like, hey, Laiken, can you write a song about female empowerment or overcoming relationships, what have you? And I wasn't even intended to sing the song. It was written for someone else who was going to sing it. I was coming back to Savannah from Augusta and listening to the song over and over and over again. And I was like, okay, what am I going to write about? And I was listening to other songs, and I was like, okay, female empowerment. And so I was driving down the road and I ran my fingers through my hair, and I was like, anytime a woman goes through something, they cut their hair off. And then that was the first line. It's like I cut my hair to the floor. Starting new and starting fresh, and that's where the song Promise came from. I wrote the first half of the song, and I have the worst writer's block. I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. And so I wrote the first part, and then 6 months later, he got busy with other projects, and he's like, well, I got someone else to work on that song. I was like, okay, cool. So it was just out my memory by that point. Then he came back 6 months later. He's like, hey, it just doesn't sound the same without you singing it. Can you finish the rest of the song? And I was like, okay. It's like, and we were pressed for time because they were getting ready to cut their album. And then I finished the rest of it, and it was released. And then some friends came up to me and talked about how much they loved it, and it was like the breakup song. The local breakup song.
Was it worth it to you to leave me high and dry, alone with no tears left to cry? Did you think that would do? You're such a fool. I'm in the streets now with my girls. I've got guys offering me the world. In spite of it all, I keep my cool. I cut my hair to the floor. Today's a new day. Don't need your love anymore. I've got my head held high. Every promise that you made was broken, and my love, we both know it's time to say goodbye. And our love, it was so mistaken. Done with that, done with you, so done with wasting time. Let me put this to you. I'm walking out the door, packing up and moving on. Going, going, gone. The time's come. Promises made were broken. I'm more than just some token in your game. I'm putting out this flame. I cut my hair to the floor. Today's a new day. Don't need your love anymore. I've got my head held high. Every promise that you made was broken, and my love, we both know it's time to say goodbye. And our love, it was so mistaken. Done with that, done with you, so done with wasting time. Every promise that you made was broken, and my love, we both know it's time to say goodbye. And our love, it was so mistaken. Done with that, done with you, so done with wasting time.
I remain humble about everything, and the guys in band keep reminding me, like, well, Laiken, maybe we need to start playing that song. I was like, yeah, I just forget that I have the song. And they were like, hey, tell me you have a single out. They get it on iTunes, buy it on iTunes. And I was like, yes, thank you so much.
So have you been singing that song out?
I haven't sung it yet. I've been so swamped in work, but we're going to add it to our list.
So would you like to sing something?
Sure, what would you like?
I'll leave it up to you.
You leave it up to me? I'll do in my favorites. I'll do Stand By Me, Sam Cooke. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. Now, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, oh, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me.
Very good. Thank you. And you wanted to do a Stevie Wonder song?
Oh, yes. Like a fool, I wanna say it too long. Now I'm wondering if your love's still strong. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Then that time I wanna say goodbye. Now I'm back and not ashamed to cry. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Oh, here I am, baby, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Yeah, yeah. Said, here I am, baby, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Oh, we didn't even talk about the cabarets.
Yeah, right. We didn't talk about the cabarets. So you've done the Lucas Theater cabarets as well.
Yes. This was my first year. Natasha reached out to me and she was like, hey, are you interested in performing in the cabaret? We want to reach out and bring in some new artists. I was like, sure, that sounds fun. A few years ago, I sang in the Johnny Mercer cabaret. They did a audition for people, and I came in. I think it's around the time Cecilia came in and did a tune, and Debbie Burke Scott, and I sang in that one. And so I think I did some changing of the hands, and I wasn't called back or anything, which around the time I was still trying to figure out where I wanted to go. And a few years later, Natasha reached out. She's like, hey, would you be interested? And the first one I did was London is Calling, and I sang Smooth Operator, Sade. And she put me on 2 shows this year where we did the Motown Cabaret, which was a lot of fun. And I did Stevie Wonder Cabaret. And I've worked with Trey Gurley this year, and Cecilia Tranaringo, and Natasha, and J.J. Collins, and Jane Ogle. And we've just had a blast. And I think my favorite one was the Stevie Wonder, because Eric had about seen like 10,000 pianos on stage. It was just a great time, and most people talked all about the Stevie Wonder. So hopefully we get to do a Stevie Wonder Part 2 in the future, or Motown Part 2, or just do some good tributes to Prince or Michael Jackson or Whitney or what have you. We've been chatting recently about next year's season, and I don't know fully what we're doing, but whatever it is, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, there was some comment was made about a soul next year.
Yes. And I think possibly this, I'm not sure if this is set in stone, but I think next year's Christmas Cabaret is going to be a soulful Christmas.
Oh, Soulful Christmas.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's going to be fun to see what next year's cabarets bring. And they're a great group of people. I've enjoyed working with them. Oh, another big thing is Tourism Leadership Council, and working with the Alcacurian. Alcacurian Festival is the Western resort, and they have bartenders competitions with certain spirit categories. And by voting them in, they compete at the Westin, and local restaurants, they compete too. So you purchase your tickets, and you vote on your favorite food, or you vote on your favorite spirit, and whatever its select category is. And we make it a big party of that. We're usually the band in the main room where they do the awards, and once everybody's feeling good, it's like a big jam session. It's like a prequel to the Savannah Food and Wine Festival, which this is our 2nd year doing events with them. It's been an amazing experience with food and the spirits and the wines and all, and it incorporates music. And I think what 3 things can pin together than food, music, and spirits.
Tonight, we have had Laiken WIlliams in the studio. I want to thank you so very much for coming in, Laiken WIlliams.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Dave.
This has been another edition of Music Local and Sustainable, and I've been your host, Dave Lake. Save this time for another show next week.
Well, I know we ain't headed for the Hall of Fame. Gonna give it what we got, man, that ain't no shame. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2.